what we can do and use the wisdom to approach it according to our capabilities, I would say. So we have also Dharma teachers, centers and groups and so on. So in a way, we also have to refrain to keep bombarding us with questions. Why this happens? Why this happens? Yeah, it happens. But at the time you go along with these questions, why, you answer as many as you want. But then you come to the point where you cannot answer. So in a way, it's also called reductio ad absurdum. You reduce, you question, you come down to the point where you have no question and answer. It's kind of a koan. And this is working on the mind. It's not really we are negating an existence, but this is working with our mind. This would be my view on the situation. I know it's very heavy because it's quite prevailing. Thank you for attention.
Okay, would you like to share your name?
Yeah,
Mladen.
Mladen, I have it written. I'm actually from Europe.
Right. Mladen. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So there are a couple points from your sharing, and one is that let us look at this issue or any issue from the perspective of absolute truth and relative truth. That is a good advice, yeah? And there's another point about when we go into our own mind, it is possible to find peace or quietness, calmness, stillness within, no matter what happens in the relative world, in the outside world, right? So we want to be able to practice to do that. And another point will be we can ask these questions, but in the end, nobody's going to be able to answer all these questions or to find satisfactory answers to all these questions, because they are, throughout history, we see that there are many, many things that is beyond our power to affect, right? Beyond our power to influence. Okay, it can be really frustrating when we see people hurting each other or people lying to each other and so on and so on, and they just don't seem to care about what is truth and what is good, what is kind, what is right. There are many people who doesn't seem to care about that, and we feel powerless about that. So let us go back to some of these points. One, it is true that throughout human history, we're seeing suffering. People cause suffering, and people being unjust. People try to cheat each other all the time throughout history in every part of the world, right? Do you think that it's going to end anytime soon, that situation?
No.
No, it's not going to end anytime soon, right? So 100 years from now, 1,000,000 years from now, it's probably the same thing is going to be playing over and over again. Yeah? So that is a fact. And that is something that when it is a reality, when it is a real, people behave this way. Or let's say some people behave this way, right? It is just a fact. And when it is a fact, what does Buddhism say about that? Even though it's unfair or hurtful, what does Buddhism say about that? How do we face that? The first thing is
acceptance.
Yes. The first thing is to accept what is happening right now. Okay? It's not what we want, it's not what we would like to see. But the fact that it is happening right now and it will be happening in the future, it means that we have no choice but to accept it as it is. Not to agree with it, but to accept people are people and people will do things like this. There will be people in power that's corrupt. There will be people in power who are good, but there will always be things happening like this. That's not the full answer, but it's the first step. The first step is it's not to think that how can you do this? How can this happen? This is terrible. It is terrible, maybe. It is terrible. But we have to accept that this is part of life. This is part of life. And this happens in every generation. Yeah? That's the first thing. Okay, now, but can we do something about it? What can we do about it? Then let's go back to another point that Mladen mentioned, which is before we can do anything about other people, let us be able to stand at a position that is good for us. Meaning, let us find peace inside, or let us find a way to stay calm so that we don't get drained, right? We don't get drained of our energy worrying about what is happening outside. Does Buddhism offer ways to do that? What? What does Buddhism offer in this second step?
In terms of calming the mind, we have methods.
Yes, and that's what Sư Phụ has been teaching for many, many years, right? There are methods to calm our minds called meditation. So mindfulness of feeling will be really useful at this point, right? Mindfulness of body would help too. Let's focus on the body, or mindfulness of feeling. We focus on the fleeting nature of our feelings, because when we feel upset, when we feel hopeless, when we feel fearful, these are feelings, these are emotional things. But then we need to understand when we are draining ourselves, when we are feeding fire to the fuel, feeding fuel to the fire, so that we get more and more worried, more and more stressed, right? There's ways to deal with that. And that's called mindfulness of feeling, which Sư Phụ has the teaching on the YouTube channel already, right? So there are methods to do that, to practice. This is to, in a way, is a way to protect us. Of course, we want to do more. We want to be able to make some changes. We want to see our world better. But before that, we need to protect ourselves in the sense that we need to be able to stay healthy of mind. We need to experience peace and serenity inside that will give us the strength and the energy to go fight whatever battle we want to fight, or to overcome whatever obstacle we have in our life, right? So regardless of the issue we are facing, the second steps is crucial. It's crucial. It's like if you want to go on a battlefield, you want to put on a very good armor, right? You want to put on good armor to protect yourself. And the meditation is the armor. All right. Now, I think everybody can agree with that. Now, onto the step 3. There can be a step 3. What can we do? Is there any way I can actually change the situation outside? Now, to do that, we need to analyze. We need to do a little bit of analysis, right? And I believe Sư Phụ had talked about that in the Heart Sutra course. Does anybody have any suggestions about when we try to change our situation or change the situation that we are in? What are some of the principles or tools that we, or point of perspective that we should have?
Well, Shifu has always been teaching us about causes and effects. Effects are results. It is what it is. If we want to change the future outcome, we have to change the causes or the conditions to make it happen. So that's where we should focus.
Okay, so one of the fundamental principles is cause and effect, right? The law of causality. So what we perceive is happening around us is a phenomena, right? These phenomena, these situation, these are results of some causes. Now, it would be helpful to identify the causes of these results, so we can understand the situation better. Things don't just come out of nowhere, right? Right, so we identify the causes. Now we can talk about that. But are there any other tools or principles that we should consider? Yes.
That also that we may be kind of victim to illusions and our traps of thinking that may not be accurate. And I just want to say from the standpoint of somebody who's old, that this is not the first time that this kind of really severe, kind of national crisis has happened. We've lived through that before, and it happens, and doesn't make it better, but it's so I think by recognizing, like we talk about the interdependence and all beyond cause and effect, because cause and effect in this situation is very difficult to nail down because it's so complicated. And I think the seeing things as they are, but also seeing um, that we can free ourselves from just our perception, not hold on to it so much because it may or may not be true, and have compassion to see what maybe somebody else thinking, what they're thinking and what their thought process is. Try to put yourself so that you're not trapped in just one thought process, realizing that it's complex, there's all these different things going on at the same time, to maybe step out of that. And then I think no matter what happens, I mean, that's what some of us are doing. I think whatever's going to happen at the end of the year is going to be difficult for so many people, but we can use our tools that we've learned from Buddhism of recognizing that things are complex, that there's a multitude of interdependent causes and effects, and that we can choose compassion to. We may not be able to control the election, but we can control our response to it, and to continue to behave towards everyone in situations in the wisest and most compassionate way we can. And maybe that's how we survive it. If things don't go the way you think they're going to go or something like that, you still have the ability to maintain and learn and be compassionate, and maybe reach out to people who are not feeling the way you are, to change it that way, because it's some of it's out of our control at this point. So we just can focus on what we can do, having a clear mind, not being kind of go down one path where we get caught in our illusions of things that are not true. And then just, to me, like basically try to work from a point of view of compassion and wisdom while meditating and trying to keep a calm mind and everything, and reaching out to see what the other points of view might be, and just being kind in the end.
Okay, so Deborah make a couple points. One is that there are situations that we cannot control, but we should know which part we cannot control and which part we can make a change, we can make a difference, right? So that's something that Shivu has stressed. That's very important, to look at the situation and see, okay, can I actually go to the broadcasting company and say, look, you guys, you can't do that, right? Reverse time and start over. That's not going to happen, right? But what other things that we can change? So Deborah gave an example. Talk to your friends, your acquaintances, right? So see how they feel, and then maybe present what you think, and then with the mindset that, hey, maybe there are different perspectives too. Maybe there are other people have some perspective that I don't see yet. So it's not like my perspective is always right, but I'm open to hearing what other people have to say about this, or how other people deal with it, right? So another point that Deborah make was that there are many perspectives. Let's begin by not reminding ourselves, don't get trapped in my own perspective, as that's the only way to look at things, okay? So when Mr. Trump became a president, it was quite shocking to my worldview. And then, but he also opened up my eyes to see a different part of America that I didn't know about. And then when Mr. Biden became the president, I had some expectations, but he also overthrew my expectations and helped me see another side of the way things work, or the international politics. It was pretty shocking to me too. And then when Ms. Harris became the candidate, she also overthrew some of my expectations. So, it's quite interesting. This whole thing is quite interesting, and then you keep seeing things that you didn't know about before. So we keep an open mind, and things are definitely far from being satisfactory. And it does seem things are kind of dangerous, or something's gonna blow up real big. Yeah? But what can we do? Let's focus on what we can do, even if it's a small part, even if it's just talking with your friends, talking on a Buddhist Q&A forum, getting some ideas, right? And the third thing that Deborah mentioned was to always maintain a state of compassion, a mindset of compassion for both sides, or for our sides. And that's quite difficult to do, but it's powerful. It's powerful to try to be kind or be compassionate to both sides. Okay? All right. So those are good points, good principles. We can certainly talk about any of this in detail. But are there any other points that anybody want to make? How do we deal with these?
Yes. Can I add, Mr. Shifu? Hi. I tend to have a lot of Christian friends right now. I don't know why, but they do prayers. So what do you think about praying? Does it also work? Because
Okay.
they believe that so many people, if they pray together, the energy will be, I don't know, become something and sort of maybe solve the problem or
Okay.
make a wish come true. What do you think about that?
Yeah, what I think about prayer? Something that is similar in Buddhism that we do is called dedication of merits, right? At the end of every lecture, every meditation retreat, or every session, we do a dedication of merits. What is the meaning of that? It's kind of like a prayer. We say, let's dedicate merits to this and that, to something good that we hope to happen. Yeah. For example, we dedicate the merits of this studying the Dharma together to peace in the world, for the world leaders to have wisdom and compassion, right? To actually find out something good for their people, to work for something good for their people instead of, trying to keep their own position. Right? So we made this dedication is kind of like a prayer. Does it work? It does make differences. Okay, it does make a difference. But let's not have wishful thinking. Somehow magically, things will change because of our prayer here. Yeah. Why does it make a difference? The dedication of merits is kind of like this. Shifu use this analogy. Let's say you work very hard and very smartly, and you make a lot of money. You become a billionaire. So you have a lot of money, yeah? Let's say. Now, a lot of money is a resource. Money is a resource. You can use your resource to make changes, to do things, to make changes, right? In American politics, you have a lot of money, you can, you can affect the legislators, which is, it is what it is. Okay, so when you have money, you have resources that can affect more changes. Now, money is something physical, right? In terms of karma, but it's a kind of karma. It's a play out of some of karma. It's part of the causality. But the karma works not only with physical events, it also works with mental events. Meaning, when we talk about merits, when we talk about retribution, when we talk about suffering, things that may make you suffer, things that may make you happy, right? So that karma also works that way. That's cause and effect. So when we are studying the Dharma together, let's say in this session, we're doing something good. We want to get more awakened. We want the world to be better. We want ourselves to become enlightened. We want the world to be enlightened. So we are creating good karma here by studying, by listening to each other and learning from Shifu, right? So that generates karma points, good karma points. Good karma point is like resource. It's like money. Similar to money, it's a resource. It's blessing or merits. So when we have merits, we can also use it in a way that we wish. Like you have money, you can use it in a way that you wish to some extent. When we have merits, we can use it in a way that we wish. For example, Shifu have studied the Dharma for a long time, and so I use it in a way to do my teaching, right? That makes difference, that causes different kinds of karma. Now you, by participating and thinking about the Dharma and learning the Dharma and practicing the Dharma, you also generate some of these resources, these karmic resources. You can certainly dedicate it to what you wish in the beginning. You said, I hope that people, especially those people in power, people in media, people, and so on, that they learn to be fair. They learn to seek out the truth. They learn to be compassionate. They learn to be more conscientious, right? You can do that. You can do that. When we practice the Dharma, we can make dedications that way, okay? But does it work? Well, think about this. Think about this. Things that happen in this world, or things that happen in our lives, they have different weight, right? Some things are easy to change, some things are difficult to change. For the things that's difficult to change, how much effort do you need to put in? Yeah? So let's say you are a billionaire. What can you do with that money? And how much money would it make a difference in different situations, right? In a similar way, the things that happen in our life, the suffering that's happening in this world. We see great suffering right now in some parts of the world. And that means there were heavy karma in the past has been created, right? So we want to change it. How much merits, how many people, how much effort do we need to put in, right? Nobody can give us a measurement, but every little bit counts, right? Every little bit counts. So to answer your question, the prayer, our similar practice is our dedication merits. And I do encourage you to do that as well, right? We do that. All right. Svati, did you want to say something?
When you asking about the principles, you can go back in the hot track. So, and one thing that I always go back to is emptiness, because phenomena are empty, because everything is empty.
Sorry. It's a little bit difficult to make out your words. Maybe it's the microphone position or something.
Okay, I'll try again.
Not helping.
Okay, okay, later.
Maybe. Are you using a microphone?
I actually just removed it. I thought it wasn't helping. Yeah.
Oh, let's say you turn off that remote. Maybe just speak to the device.
Is it better now?
Slightly better, yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I think I was talking about emptiness when because things are empty, we always have hope that they can get better. And because they're empty, nothing is engraved in stone. So we can still have that courage, that fortitude to keep going, and agreed that we cannot change the world, but there are a lot of people around us that make up our world. And by being available to them, by helping them out, I think we can change their world at least. Thank you.
Okay, so Svati was mentioned the important concept of emptiness, because everything is empty, therefore we always have hope, right? So emptiness is intimately tied together with interdependence. So to say that, let's say right now we see people who are behaving in an unjust or unfair way. So that's the way they behave, that's the way they think right now. Now, that is empty, meaning that their personality or their belief, their behavior can change. It's not fixed, it's not intrinsic. They're not born to be evil people, right? But because the environment, the way they grew up, whatever, that these conditions make them behave this way. But it is possible to change. So we should have hope. Although these people may be very far away from us, maybe not in our social circle, right? But within our social circle, within our friends circle, if we can make some changes, then our friends have friends, and their friends have friends, right? So that will be something we can begin to propagate the change. Right? We focus, this ties into what we said before. We focus on what we can do now with a calm and clear mind, accepting what is happening without being upset. But we take steps to do what we can do, right? So Ayaka, you were telling Shifu previously about how you were able to save some animals that was abused. Obviously the people that abuse these animals are, can make us upset. But then instead you focus on what steps you can take, what actions you could take, who you can talk to, right? And you made a lot of effort and you were able to save these animals. So it's not too different from that. Instead of focusing on why do people do that, right? We focus on, okay, what are the steps I can take right now? Even if they are smaller steps, because we're dealing with a bigger issue. But smaller steps from you and from us and from others, we can, we have hope. All right? All right, so let's review this discussion. First is to accept what is happening. people behave the way they are because of many past experiences that shaped them that way. So there's no point wasting energy getting upset, but rather accept them as they are. And number two, we practice meditation to calm ourselves. There are many methods that's available on Shifu's channel already, right? Mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of thought. These are all meditation practice that we can do. The key here is that we want to have basic understanding of how our mind works. And Shifu has a talk called Awareness, Consciousness. What was it?
Knowing, awareness, consciousness, and mindfulness.
Knowing, awareness, mindfulness, consciousness, right? So that is an important talk that helps us understand how our mind works and also point out what is that part of our mind that is at peace always. That's what Mladen was talking about, was referring to, the knowing part of our mind. Let us tap into the knowing part instead of the analytical, judging, thinking, predicting, emotional part of our mind, which is called consciousness. Let's tap into the knowing part of our mind. At this moment, everybody is aware. It is with what we are aware, the content of what we are aware, that our mind further process that information and begin to judge, and begin to love, and begin to hate, and begin to get stressed. So that's the consciousness part. We use our consciousness mind all the time, but we need to retract into the knowing part of the mind, the very foundation of our mind, which is awareness, which is knowing, the knowing part. And we can always return there because it's always there. It's always in the present, the knowing part. And when you can do that, you will find peace from within. And that peace, that serenity will give you energy to deal with what happens in our life. That's the second step. All right? And the third step is to think about cause and effect. If the result is not what we like, then what can we do to change it? In order to change it, you have to change the cause and conditions. Now, what are the conditions that we can change? What are the conditions we cannot change? Let's forget about the conditions we cannot change. Let's focus on the conditions that we can change. Right? So that's tying causality, interdependence all together. All right? Okay, so thank Aiko for the question. Is there anything more you want to say about that? Or is that okay for now? Okay, good. Any other issues you want to bring up or any other things you want to share? If, for example, when you reflect on your mind or immersed in a project.
Shifu, for me, I find it's easier to get into an immersion mode when I'm trying to solve a problem. It could be, day-to-day problem, or it could be a Dharma problem. When I was working my homework assignment, sometimes I wasn't sure about concept, and I begin to find references, and the references will mention something that I didn't quite understand. So I could go into an infinite loop, and in the same time, I totally got lost in the process, and time passed very fast. So I definitely experienced that.
Yeah, Shifu does that all the time. When I prepare for a talk on a topic, you start looking into the scriptures, and that can lead to something else, and that can lead to something else, and that can lead to something else, and then before you know it, hours or days have passed. But it's quite enjoyable.
Yes.
Right? So the reason I want to talk about being totally immersed in something is that I would guess that all of you have experiences like that, where you are totally absorbed in a task. Then what are some of the characteristics of that time spent, that effort, when you are totally absorbed in that project? Well, we know that time goes fast, and probably you don't feel as tired, right? You seem to have more energy than usual. Anything else we can say about that?
Yes. I feel like when I'm totally absorbed in things that I'm doing, sometimes could be my new hobby or could be work. But when I'm into the zone and producing something, my mind is not scattered. It's very focused, very simple, and not thinking about, oh, what if my world ends or what's going on? Nothing at all. It's just the mind is very simple, not thinking at all, and then doing only one task. So to me, it's very like a meditational. It's part of kind of meditation.
Yes, it is similar to meditation in that you are totally focused. Your mind doesn't get very distracted, right? Some things that may distract you before when you are totally immersed. For example, there's a online drama I need to catch. I wonder what's happening with that, with this and that news, whatever. When you are totally focused, you just don't care anymore. You just want to delve into that, right? So that is a good point. Your mind is not distracted naturally. It's not like you have to force yourself to bring your mind back to the focus, which we struggle with during meditation, right? During meditation, we often have to struggle with us maintain that meditation. But when you're totally immersed in something, that is not an issue. You just naturally, your mind is not distracted, right? So that's nice. That's really nice. Any other?
Sure. Well, I think for me, it starts with a commitment. It's a commitment to yourself to say whether it is waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning or commitment that I want to finish this project today.
Okay.
And you start telling yourself that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. When you have a very deep commitment to yourself that you want to do this, right? Then it becomes easier to immerse and focus on that. Let's say I want to get up 6 o'clock in the morning and do 2 hours of meditation every day, and I really, really want to do that. Then you versus someone say, okay, it would be nice to get up at 6 and do a couple sessions of meditation, right? So this is kind of a nonchalant attitude. Yeah, Shifu say it's good. Okay, maybe I'll try it. So there's a different levels of commitment. So for the second person, when he wakes up, then he will be struggling every day. Should I do it now? Maybe later, maybe 6:30, maybe 8 o'clock, maybe after breakfast, maybe tomorrow. So every day you struggle with that. But then when you have a very deep commitment, you don't even think about the alternatives. You just get up and do it because you have to. And what I notice is that different people have different levels of commitment to what they set out to do. Some people take any kind of commitment very seriously, and they are very firm about it. That they get things done. but they also can stress themselves out, right? On the other hand, they are another type of person who doesn't make deep commitments about anything, and they easily give up on their goals. They are not as stressed, but they can be very frustrating to deal with. Yeah? All right, so anything else about total immersion? What are some of the qualities? Some of the characteristics?
Shifu, I would say this is related to something we discussed earlier. Instead of asking why, somebody did this, somebody said this, what did he mean, things like that. When you are in the immersion mode, you totally block out all those random thoughts about emotions and such. You focus on getting the things done. So I think that's related to, yeah, it's good to ask why questions, but focus on what you can do to make it better.
Okay, so there's a why, and there's a how, and there's a what, right? So you see something happening, that's the what. And then you may wonder why is it happening? Why is it this way? Why people behave this way? Why do things turn out this way? Now, it is good to ask the question why to some point, but then at some point you have to deal with the how to make a change. So when we focus on the how, when we are immersed, totally absorbed in how, emotions tend not to get in the way, right? That's another good thing. Emotions tend not to get in the way. But before we get totally immersed, the emotions can definitely get in the way. Yeah? Okay. All right. So now I know that becoming good at meditation is a challenge for many people, maybe most of us. And we know that to become really good at meditation, you need immersion. You need to totally immerse. So if we are still struggling with meditation, struggling with making a deeper progress in meditation, how can we bring ourselves into total commitment and immersion into the meditation? So some of you already mentioned that if I have a goal, if I set a goal, right? If I have a definite goal, instead of I need to meditate, I would like to meditate so I can get enlightened sometime in the future, I don't know when. That goal that is still a goal, but it's kind of vague, it's kind of fuzzy, yeah? It's not definite enough, okay? On the other hand, something more solid would be, okay, I would like to practice meditation this whole month, so that a month later, I would see a definite progress in some way. For example, I don't get upset when things don't go my way, when I deal with a particular person. Not so much upset anymore. I can be a lot more accommodating because my mind is more calm. Yeah? Or dealing with your boss, or dealing with a particular situation that is recurring. Let's say a person really doesn't like to see dirt on the floor. But dirt will gather all the time, right? Continuously. So you get upset frequently. Now let's make a 1 month goal. I will meditate, practice focusing on the breath for a whole month. No matter how long it takes, how many hours a day. But at the end of the month, my mind will be more calm, so and more clear, so that when I see the things that used to bother me, like a lot of dirt at a corner, a messy room in my son's room, I can behave better. I can react better. So that's a more definite goal, right? Maybe not so exciting, but it's a definite goal. And you know it's achievable. You know it's achievable. So how many months do we have in our life? We don't really know, right? But if we can make some definite change each month through meditation, then maybe that can be a motivation for you to make a huge progress, starting with smaller progress. Yeah? So I encourage you to think about how you can trick yourself into immersion in meditation practice. Yeah? So that you wake up in the morning and you cannot wait to start meditating.
But one way of looking at this is also mind has natural capability of being in meditation. It's nothing really. I mean, what is preventing us to be meditative? Basically, we can call distractions. We can call these mood changes. And okay, I'm not saying this is like I speak like an expert, but if we are keep tracking all these mood changes, then we can say there's also a Buddhist saying, first mind is defiled, and then it becomes a defilement. As long as you keep things going on, they become harder and harder and harder. And if we train in, they become more solidified. If we keep training bad habits, they become harder to remove. Our obsessions, our addictions, our whatever it is. I mean, so this is actually, we can motivate ourselves. It's a good thing to meditate. Why we just easily believe it's good to go up to hill in at that time when some sports magazine says we can convince ourselves it's good for meditation. It's our body is relaxed, our pressure is less, our heart is less, our clarity is more. It's a good thing. It's even relative thing is very easy to give some food to the mind and you start eating that.
Yes. So definitely, we have been committed to things before in our life, right? Maybe you commit to a diet, maybe you commit to exercise, particular kind of exercise, maybe you commit to finishing college. So these are all commitments we have done in the past. Now, we find a way for each of us to be very committed to this sustained meditation training. Yeah? So for some people it's, I can make my body more relaxed and that would be good, it's healthy. For other people it's, I have more clarity. For another would be whatever. So there's so many benefits to meditation. But why aren't we doing this like 3 hours a day? Right? So it's an interesting question. Let's think about this. Maybe somebody will have an answer and find a way to become more committed to the meditation. Yeah, I can think of one obstacle to meditation practice, and that is, it's difficult to see the progress. If we do exercise, you can say, I exercise 3 hours a day, and then over time you can see how your skills improved. But mental skills of focusing, concentration, that is a lot more subtle. That is a lot more subtle than that. Yeah? So it's not so measurable, it's not so observable. And then we can miss the distractions. We can sit for 40 minutes and then be dozing off for 30 of that 40 minutes without realizing that's what we're doing. Okay? So we need to overcome these obstacles. That's why one of the reasons Sifu often mentions, learn to assess how well you're meditating. once in a while, once a week, say. Assess how well you're meditating. Learn to become aware of when you begin to doze off. For example, I would say that most people begin to doze off within a minute after they close their eyes. Now, you don't believe me? Well, prove me wrong.
So that's not for people with insomnia.
Right. People with insomnia, they wish they could do that. They have a different issue. Yeah.
But there are also guidelines. There are also, we have to also have some guidelines how to do the meditation. At least I'm using them. I mean, not overextend even if I'm approaching with wishful thinking, I'm gonna meditate straight out of the gate with 2 hours, very focused mind. I know it's not it's unreal for me. But even there are methods, like sometimes they used to approach, like you can put a candlestick or like incense stick and you watch it, and then you watch yourself how you approach, how long you can maintain mindfulness of something that's an object there. It's a very simple object. You don't need to project anything into that, and you can focus very steadily on a material object. Later you refine your discursive thinking with being able to have no support of that kind of a gross object being there. You can look at the candle, which is flickering a little bit, it's stable, and then you can reflect. That stability of the object is going to reflect in your mind, because what is distressed mind is actually following the never ever changing thought patterns, or following the feelings. Well, if you focus, direct them to, let's see how my mind, how my body feels now. So assessing the body, you're not running everywhere around. So you really have a deliberate, structured approach to what I'm gonna see: my feet, my knees, my legs, my so on. So it's really calming the mind. Even the step-by-step process is very good to use. That's what I use actually.
Yes, so you want to find something that works for you, right? So when we talk about the whole body scan or the scanning of the skin, flesh, and bones, these are like that, step by step. You can move from top to the bottom, So they are very clear steps that you follow, and to help you concentrate. Along the way, you develop your power of concentration, right? So that, for example, the body scan meditation would be more useful for somebody who practice observing the breath without much progress. Some people's mind is just too active. So when they try to focus on the breath, it's just too boring for them. It's just not enough activity. So the mind would always go off. But for some other people, they find it very natural. So you want to find out what works for you, right? Another thing that I find useful is that, you can easily get a meditation timer app on your phone now. So you can set those timers to make a click sound or a wooden fish sound every 5 minutes. Yeah. So every 5 minutes you hear a call, or whatever sound you want to bring you out of that wandering. Yeah. To maybe wake you up a little bit. Yeah. And I tried that myself. There will be times when I just doze off and I don't even hear the 5-minute click. That can happen, but at least that's happening. Wait, what happened? So yeah, how often do you doze off, right? So there are little tricks to assess your own meditation, all right?
Sufu, when I used to be at the Zen center, and when Sufu was teaching all the meditation, and I really enjoyed it with the group. So for me, it works better with majority of people doing together to do the meditation rather than being alone and then doing it.
Right.
So when I was going the Zen center and listening to you teaching the meditation, I had a clarity and I was really happy from inside of me. My soul was really happy and I could tell the difference and I could tell the progress. And only one the obstacle that I had is that once I stopped doing medication, it's go back to nothing again. So it's not like a mathematics. If I learn 1 + 1 = 2, then you remember it forever. But for the meditation, even if I could achieve certain level, I can drop it like within a couple of weeks, dealing with like the different situation or people, and easily to come back to like a beginning. So it's very difficult for me to just go in this wave, going back, progress, going back, and I feel like I never really could attain or learn. So how should I do that?
Okay, so meditation as part of the Buddhist practice need to be used in combination with teaching. So that's why Shifu, now that I'm on my own, I don't have a Zen center place that is easily accessible, right? So we do this online. But I try to provide different ways for you to experience something like, there's nothing compared to sitting in the same room, meditating with each other together, right? That's just a beautiful experience. But without that opportunity right now, Shifu has tried several ways to help people with that. One thing is the Sunday morning meditation together, right? So it's 6 a.m. California time. Every Sunday at 6 a.m., Shifu meditate with all of you online. So it's not the same as physically together in the meditation hall, but still, it's nice to see people getting up from different places of the world. There are people from Taiwan who, it's late night for them, and it's nice to see people getting up early, and we meditate together, right? And we also have a monthly half-day meditation retreat. So I think most of you know that already, although I don't see all of you joining. So usually it's the first Saturday of the month that Shifu has 4-hour half-day meditation online. So I will be there and I will do the teaching with you, and we have 4 sessions, right? That has been happening. So you can find all of that information on our website. And so in terms of meditation, that's what we do. So these are the regulars. Although I have to mention that because of my traveling teaching schedule for the next 2-3 months, our half-day meditation, I will not be able to hold it live. So what we will do, we'll repeat for the next 3 months. We will repeat our previously recorded half-day meditations. All right. I still encourage you to join, even though for the next 3 months I won't be there online. But the teaching is there, and the teaching, deserves repeated listening to understand better and to practice. So what happens in the next 3 months in our half-day meditation retreat is that we will replay some of the half-day videos that's already available on our YouTube channel, okay? But then the point then is, let's meditate together. When you're meditating yourself, it's easy to have excuses. Oh, I'm too sleepy, let me go take a nap. Maybe not today, right? But when we're online together, then that kind of keep us going right? So, and then in terms of the teaching part, it is also available. Unlike when I was in the Zen center, because of the monastic the monastery rules, I cannot share the teaching with you online. Right now, I'm on my own, so all my teachings are online. So you want to refresh your understanding or deepen your understanding by repeated listening of those teachings. Okay. Also the Monday morning, the Sunday morning meditation for 45 minutes. I give a talk for a few minutes. Those also you can repeat. You can, at any time of the day, you can sit down and have a session and play one of those Sunday morning awakening hour meditation with you, right? All right, so the teaching, the lectures, the whole Heart Sutra course is available, and also some English lectures are also available in those playlists. So look out for that and listen to help you reaffirm the teaching. You need the understanding, the understanding, the perspective, along with the meditation practice together, to make things to continue the progress, right? Okay. All right. So anything else?
Shifu, I would like to add a little bit about the half-day meditations in addition to what Shifu just said. There used to be an on-site meditation in Mountain View, but due to lack of attendance, it was moved to online. So if enough people show interest to participate physically in Mountain View, I believe that could be reinstated.
Right. We held it for almost a year, right? But then because the reason is to have a place on site in Mountain View, California, in the Bay Area, you need people to be there ahead of time to arrange the place, stay there, people to offer the space, and at the end, cleaning the place, right? Rearrange, put everything back in. So that's quite a bit of effort. And when not enough people care about that, then we assess and say, okay, let's just move it online, all right? But, like I said, I still hope that there are more physical on-site places that you can meditate with a group of you together. And, we still has the teaching online that you can join in the meeting, but you can meditate together with locals, okay? So if you're interested, if you're in the Bay Area and you're interested, contact Ron. Okay. Now, one of the questions that Shifu brought up for this month was, what do you see when you reflect on your mind? And I don't think people have shared much about that. But let me start then by asking you a more specific question. So when obviously we need to understand ourselves. But then what does it mean to understand ourselves? Ourselves is it seems to be a very basic concept, but actually it's very fuzzy. What do you mean, ourselves, right? Who am I? What am I? So how does Buddha's teaching, how does the Dharma help us deal with this issue? Now, I think all of you have heard this concept. When you are dealing with a very difficult question, difficult issue, you break it down into simpler parts, right? You break it down into simpler parts, and then you solve the individual parts. So Buddha was doing this a long time ago. Who am I? What am I? How do I understand myself? That is a very difficult problem. Let's break it down into smaller parts. How does the Dharma break the idea of the concept of I into smaller parts? And what smaller parts? Do you know? You should know.
5 skandhas.
Yes, exactly. 5 skandhas is one of the major way. Is a major way that we break down ourselves. So 5 skandhas, the 5 aggregates, what are they?
Form, feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness.
Yes, form, feeling, conception, volition or mental formation, and consciousness. So let's quickly review that. Form refers to our body, right? So then what methods, what tools do we have to understand our body?
Mindfulness of body.
Yeah. So Shifu taught a couple mindfulness of body meditation methods in the half-day retreat, but also there are more which I should teach next year. Okay, beginning next year, I will offer more mindfulness of body meditation methods. All right, and then feeling. What kind of tools we have to help us understand feeling? When I put a question that way, you already know the answer, right? Well, what?
Same thing, mindfulness of feeling.
Mindfulness of feeling. So Shifu gave very specific instructions over 3 half-day videos. That's 6 talks on mindfulness of feeling, how to understand our feelings. All right? And then conception. Conception means the beliefs, the impression, right, that we have formed, the concepts, the labels that we have formed when we learn to understand this world, when we perceive this world, conceptions, ideas, concepts. And what kind of tools do we have to understand that, or probe that?
Mindfulness of thought.
Mindfulness of thought. Mindfulness of thought actually deals more than with just conceptions, right? It deals with conceptions, consciousness. And volition, mental formation, is really dealt with in all of these meditation, in mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of thought, and so on, right? Because feelings, they continue. Thoughts, they continue. So the probing of mental formations or volition is dealt with that way. So mindfulness of thought actually deal with all sorts of mental functions, including feelings, including ideas, including beliefs, including our habits. You know, we tend to think this way, our perspectives, our judgment, right? So mindfulness of thought is a much more complicated practice. Shifu gave 6 talks or 6 meditation, half-day meditation videos on that subject. All right, and it's not something we can become very good at immediately. It's built on mindfulness of body and mindfulness of feeling. When we become more familiar with that, with those meditations, we can try mindfulness of thought. Okay. All right. So the point then is that Buddha have showed us a way to break down the problem of understanding ourselves by doing the parts, right? By doing the parts. You can always start with mindfulness of body, observing the body as aggregates, scan the body, try to see more of the nature of the body, all right? And the insights you get from that will also apply to the mental parts, to the feelings, conception, volition, and consciousness. All right, so it's a really beautiful way, a beautiful step-by-step process to take us on this journey of understanding our mind. And this whole set of practice, can take you 10 years, 20 years to become good at. But you can practice any of it right now. Okay, so we need to understand this is great Dharma treasure. This is a mountain of Dharma treasure available here. Don't underestimate the power of those practice. All right. Oh, our time is almost up. We just have a couple.
师父, I have question.
Yes.
师父，阿弥陀佛。我想问师父，人去 pass away 的时候，有些人是草，有人是要埋在地下，有的人是burn the body the ashes， 他放在temple， 有些人是去在放在海上，那个去那个 s 丢在海上，有人是埋在地下，你是不是有什么看法？
Okay, so the question is about when a person passes away, there are different methods of dealing with their body, right? So many people bury it in the ground. Some people cremate it, turn into ashes. Some people throw the ashes into the ocean or bury it under the tree. Some people put it in the urn and put it in the temple, a mausoleum. So what does Buddhism view all these ways of dealing with the body? My answer is that it actually doesn't really matter how you deal with it. Because once a person passes away, their association with the physical body is gone, right? It's gone. It's just a part of atoms of the environment. It's really more for the deceased. The important is more for the deceased, the family. The family wants to have a way to remember them. They put it in an urn and put it in the mausoleum, a monastic mausoleum. So that's what many Chinese people do. Put it in it's actually a monastery, not just a commercial mausoleum. It's a monastery with a mausoleum facility. So you put in the urn. The nice thing about that is that the shifus at the monastery mausoleum will actually do morning and evening services to bring merits to the deceased in the mausoleum. Okay? So versus commercial mausoleum, it's a place for you to put an urn, and then you pay your respect every year or whatever. But for the monastery, for the Buddhist monastery, that there's additional merit there. Okay, and if you're interested in that, there is Zhongtai Chai Monastery does have a monastery mausoleum in Texas. It's a little bit far out, but it is there. Okay. But some people want to just cremate and throw the ashes in the ocean. That's perfectly fine. Some people want to spread it into the forest. That's perfectly fine. Some people feel that I have to bury the body whole using a great, nice coffin and then find a good piece of property. Yeah, that's fine. But it's not necessary.
我们老和尚是放在在 temple 在台湾。
Yes, the Grand Master Wei Jue, his body was cremated, and it is we built a pagoda. We built a pagoda for ourselves. Really, it's for ourselves, so that we can remember him and pay our respects in the monastery.
在美國就有個 Texas 有可以放那個
Yeah. 德州寶塔禪寺，德州寶塔禪寺。
德州在 Texas， 可是在加州沒有。
No, not in California. We don't have. They don't have one in California.
好，谢谢师父。所以我问的时候，我看见很多个方法，很多个。
You know, different culture have different beliefs. For example, the Chinese culture, for a long time, believed that you gotta have the whole body, and then you gotta put it, in a very lavish burial to show that you to show your respect. It's nice to show your respect to your ancestors or to the deceased, but really, how you process the body is really not that relevant.
谢谢师父。
From our mind, we have the respect. Okay, our time is up. Let us then conclude this session with a dedication. Now, for the next month, I have to find a time that I can do it. I'm not sure I can do it because of my traveling schedule, but I'll see if I can find a time to do the online Q&A. Okay? All right, let us conclude with the dedication of merits. So what we do first is that by studying the Dharma together today, we have generated merits, good karma. Each of you can take 30 seconds to make your own dedication, how you would like to share your merits toward some people or toward some goal. Now, Sifu will make our dedication together. Let us dedicate our merits to peace in the world, to the leaders of countries in the world. May they have wisdom and compassion for their own people and for other nations. May we dedicate the merits to all the participants today and your friends and families, and also to all sentient beings. May we make progress on our journey toward enlightenment so that we can attain ultimate peace and ultimate wisdom. Okay, we'll see you next time, and hopefully we'll see you Sunday, which is tomorrow, right? Sunday morning, California time, 6 a.m. Okay? And the link to join the meeting is on our website. Okay, see you. Take care.
Thank you, Shifu.
Thank you, Shifu.
Thank you, Shifu.
Mitofo.
Thank you, Shifu.
Thank you, Sifu.